Hello and welcome to the Road Least Travelled. Happy Paddy's Day to everyone.
Woo! We are recording this on Paddy's Day.
I know everyone will be watching it like, what?
As you can tell by the Guinnesses that are in shot, I believe. Are they in shot?
I don't think... You can see the pints.
Well, we're drinking Guinness. And we're also wearing green.
Just frothy Coke, we just stirred it with a straw.
What's that like really popular? It's popular at Christmas time. What's it
Bovril.
called? Bovril?
The black sort of gravy powder stuff.
The one I'm thinking of is like fizzy. But
Fizzy?
It's like a fizzy pop drink, but I forget what it's called. It used to be really popular. Like, I remember drinking it as a kid, but it wasn't Coke.
Dr. Pepper?
No, was it Pepsi or Dr. Pepper?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's not that. It's Guinness.
We'll get back to that one, because I'm actually interested. Christmas time.
It might not be a Christmas drink. I just remember drinking it at Christmas as a kid, like, when people would have, like, parties and stuff. Like,
Is it when your dad give you a glass of Coke when I watch that mucky beer?
nah.
I remember that. I call it mucky beer. What was that about?
My little brothers still call it that. Because we called it mucky beer to them when they were, like, younger.
I think it's just meant
you don't want mucky beer.
Yeah, it's
I'm drinking a
like
vodka. Like, it's like mucky beer there.
I think it's meant to put people off. Like, oh, it's mucky beer.
Like, you don't want this. It's just like, but why do you drink it so much? It's just like, I have things that need killing inside me. But it's Paddy's Day at the time of recording this, as you can see. And
well, we're making the most of it because it's lockdown at the moment.
Yeah, as it has been for all of the podcasts.
Well, hopefully that'll change soon. The vaccines are out and not the band. Someone's let them out the cage. They go
we got
mental.
the vaccines. Fuck COVID.
Someone's given them a load of cocaine. They go mental, running about terrorising people,
slapping people who aren't wearing masks. It's just like there's been a 60% decrease in COVID cases because the vaccines are beating the shit out of everyone who's not wearing a mask. But yeah, it'll actually be good next Paddy's Day where I can actually celebrate in England and have like a proper pub crawl. 'Cause it's been like the last 2 years I haven't been able to do it.
Well, you were in Italy one of the years, weren't you?
Last year I was in the northwest, but it was COVID because obviously it's been like a year at this point. And then the year before that was in Italy, and obviously this year it's COVID again. So it's like 3 years I've not really been able to go mental. So yeah, when I'm 2022, just watch, watch out.
I'm telling you, man, cancel culture, cancel the Irish.
Cancel the Irish. It'll be seen as a racial holiday. It does bug me a bit when like people like sort of like go, my dog's breed is Irish, so I can kind of celebrate, like just like don't come up with excuses. If you want to celebrate it.
That's
you don't have to necessarily go down the Irish like path.
You can go to the pub and feel guilty for getting a Guinness.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've got Irish blood in me, I promise.
Like I listen to Boyzone, so it's I'm kind of Irish,
Louis Walsh is my favourite judge in X Factor.
Literally. But
and he's a Louis Spence there.
Louis Spence. Shock, he's Irish. Imagine.
That'd be funny.
I think what I miss about Paddy's Day, I think the last time we probably celebrated was when I was at uni, because I was doing 2018.
Yeah.
And we went out in like suits and stuff and like green ties, and like we probably looked like arseholes, I'm not gonna lie. But it was a good day.
It was a fun time.
I enjoyed it.
There was a good group of us did a bit of a pub crawl.
It was raining.
Nearly got in a fight at the end of it as well.
Yeah.
Typical Paddy style.
As you do. Very Irish of you.
Well, it wasn't me.
Well, not you, but
I didn't even get in a fight. It was one of our mates. Someone started him.
That was at the.
And then
I know which pub that was as well.
People went outside, didn't they? And just like, what's going on?
I remember I just sat down. I was like, I'm not getting involved with
that. Because I remember I went outside because he was with some others because he was starting our mate, and then the guy's like, oh, then, come here, what are you going to do? And he's like doing that as he's walking away. He's like, come on then, come on.
The ghosts are dragging him away? It's like, yeah, come on then, if these ghosts weren't here,
I think I shout, like, walk forward and we might meet you halfway, you know what I mean? Like, if you come forward a bit, we can actually do something about this.
Just beats the shit out of you, just like, the joke.
I misjudged it.
You're at the back like, hey, you should walk forward. And he's like, who said that? He's just like, oh shit.
Dude might have had like one leg shot and the other just walking in circles. I'll get you one of these days.
Just on the spot for eternity.
Put that fucker in a roundabout. I'll do fine that.
Can someone help me? I'm stuck. I can't move. It's one guy's trying to get to the pub and he's just constantly like, he can't get any further than the steps.
He'll be great in the relay race.
Hey, look, if you can like find a way to transfer that skill into NASCAR, he'd be a brilliant driver. Like, I'm going in circles real good.
Doing drift donuts, innit?
Drift King. No, I love it though.
Light up sneaks.
I think one of my favourite years, I think it was like 2017, and it was it 2017? Yeah, I think it was 2017, and I remember seeing like it was our mate David, I think, and we went out that night, and it was so good because they had the Irish band on in the SU, and it was just it was so good, honestly, like.
Dave loves celebrating that. I mean, he's celebrating today. We saw a photo of him online with his pint of Guinness.
I would have been very upset if he hadn't posted the Guinness hat picture.
Yeah, it's not right, is it?
It's tradition at this point. And, like, that is just him.
You know there's something wrong if he doesn't.
I think it's very much a holiday that defines him as a person. Not, like, if you were going to be like, oh, what, like, you know, if you were going to do one of those, like, Facebook quizzes, it's like, oh, what kind of bread are you? Like, in that way, like, you know, like, what kind of,
That's a 2008 quiz right there.
Well, what annual holiday are you? That I would associate that with, you know, St. Patrick's with him, because he's a very big pubber. Hopefully we can drink with him next year. But, yeah, that's probably one thing I don't like about Paddy's Day is obviously as much as it's great, you get drunk, you know, hang out with your mates and stuff. It's a bit like everyone can have a laugh, listen to some music you wouldn't usually listen to. I think I don't like how rowdy it can get. Like,
yeah, I think people need to know the limits. That's nice in like small pubs, micro pubs, that sort of setting. They have live bands on. You know, it's everyone has a sing song. It's quite nice, but then. When it gets
Danny boy,
it's when those people from the pubs then go to the nightclubs and then they mix in the drinks as well.
I wouldn't. Yeah, Paddy's Day, Paddy's Day for me is very much a pub thing. Like, yeah, I maybe bars to an extent. Nightclubs would be a bit weird.
To go to somewhere Dublin, Paddy's Day.
I've never been.
Do you like a folky pub? Someone's there playing the spoons. I hope that's like a genuine representation of Ireland. Like, I hope that actually happens in pubs. You get people playing like unusual instruments. Sorry.
It's one of those things that I've never been. I would love to go because obviously like family from that side, obviously.
Yeah.
On both sides technically. But yeah, it's. Would
you like to go and sort of see like the history of where they used to live, maybe?
Yeah, I'd love to. To be honest, like a lot of people do like ancestry and stuff like that, and have like a really clear like sort of idea of their heritage. Like a lot of the stuff I know are just it's like word of mouth stuff from family members. So obviously I know that like when you get to like grandparents and stuff, it's like Ireland and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, like my dad, like well, I won't say my dad's name or anything, but like you know his surname. It's a very Irish surname, and then even my like surname is an Irish surname as well. My name is Irish.
If your parents called you what you were going to be called,
yeah, imagine.
That could be more Irish.
Exactly, mate. But like, have you seen my skin tone as well? Like, I remember one of the funny things was when I was based in Salerno. There was a few Irish people like staying, and obviously, what you could when with that job, you got like a document of everyone who was going to be there, and. I remember the two Irish people. One was called like Caelan, I think. I forget the other lass's name. They saw my name, and then they saw what I looked like, and they were like, "He must be Irish, him." And then I started speaking, and they were like, "What?" Like, It's like, oh, he sounds closer to being Scottish, and I'm like, no. But yeah, it's I'd like to go that side. It's one of those. It's so close as well. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of shocked that more people haven't been.
A lot of people go for like. I mean, I'll be honest. I've never actually been, but I've always wanted to go. Let's say I have ancestry on my dad's side there that are Irish. They used to do the old like ferry across from like Liverpool to Ireland. Back in, like way back in the day, before ferries, probably like driftwood or something. But I think the family was like called Rayner. Something like that. Like,
Rayner?
Yeah, something like that. Like that's sort of like the descendant name. Anyway.
I know you're big into your history though, so I'm not shocked.
Well, I just got told that off my uncle. My uncle's very into ancestry and that. Well, that's not true, as who said.
Well,
One of my
like, I think it's like my great granddad or like his dad was raised by like travelers. Even though he was English.
That's what it is. Whether like they were like old Irish gypsies, like, but it was like back in the. Like, obviously not like way back, like probably, I don't know, 1700, 1800, something like that.
No, it's weird. Yeah, but like apparently it was one of my granddads always, one of my like great someone like on my nana's side or whatever, like my mum's nana, like my mum's side.
Great uncle.
Yeah, like I remember my nana saying something like, oh yeah, he was raised like he got kicked out from his family and he got raised by like travelers and stuff. And I'm like, that's so weird. Like.
Different lifestyle. I mean, it like today you get like modern travellers and that, and a lot of them like do sort of integrate more into modern day society. You know what I mean? But they do like. I mean, I remember a few years ago when I was a teenager. I must have been about 15, 16, something like that. And me and a few friends walked down to Redcar from Middlesbrough, and there's like a little site there, and there was like a lot of travellers staying like caravans and stuff. Because we were like just on a walk, there was some like old train tracks down that way, and we were stood atop this hill, and we looked down and like we saw a good group of people, and there was some dude like I don't know what he was eating. He was like, I don't know if he's like carving like meat with a big sharp knife. I could see him like stood. It was like quite a distance away, but we could see him like carving something. And, like eating something at the same time, like he was carving chicken with a big sharp knife and just eating it. But we just stood there and like sort of giving that like 1,000-mile stare sort of thing. We were just like, okay,
this is our land.
we better go.
I've never seen like a traveller camp. I had traveller classmates in primary school. There was like 3 lads, and then I think there was a lass. It's funny, there was a traveller lass in primary school as well, but she actually went to secondary school very briefly. I think it was like a year or 2, and then she dropped out.
Right.
So I don't think it's very typical for a lot of travellers to go into secondary school.
I thought they would have, really.
I don't know. I think it's maybe it's like their sort of like adulthood age as such, or you start contributing towards like the family or whatever. Maybe that like cuts off at like 11 or 12. I don't really know a lot about it, but
yeah, same. I wish I did though.
I remember there was a lad, I think it was called Jim, in primary school. My mum was saying like, oh, he used to, because I was obviously a very little kid, and Jim was like quite like a big lad for his age. And remember, like apparently, like when we were really little, he used to like if anyone was giving me trouble, like he'd give them crap for it and stuff, and like he'd like show me how to do things, and it's quite sweet.
He saw your skin. He's like, he's one of my own.
Oh, to be fair, mate, like, what did Jack say the other day? It was just like, oh yeah, the reflection of your chest, it's hurt my eyes or something. I was like, oh god. I used to be proper insecure about my skin tone, but like now I'm probably just embracing me.
It's I was gonna say it's rare, but it's not. It's not, well, I don't know. I mean,
I rarely meet people as pale as me.
Yeah, like true.
Like, because it's weird because like obviously people point it out sometimes in England. Like, oh, you are very pale. Like, no, not just randomly. They don't approach me like, pale boy. Well, you're a pale boy, aren't you? There's a spectre walking these streets.
Why would it be a posh person? There's like a monocle like, good God.
I don't know.
Look at this pale boy.
I don't know. For some reason, I associate that with, like, racial discrimination. Because, like, oh, you're a pale one, aren't you? Don't leave the house very much. But to be fair, that was seen as, like, a status symbol. So many hundreds of years ago, wasn't it? It's like, oh, if the paler you are, it's like, oh, you do less work, essentially, so it's a sign of power.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Weird, isn't it? Like,
I knew like obesity was seen as, or like people who were like more on the chubby end were seen as
because it meant you had
yeah,
wealth.
meant you have wealth.
But it's sort of the same sort of thing. Like, it's like, oh, you don't need to work because you're that well off. You know what I mean? So you don't, you're not going outside like doing stuff. But yeah,
Weird,
pale, boy.
Weird brag.
They thought I was. It was really weird because like when I was in Europe, like obviously North Italy, like that obviously that landmass, it's connected to the rest of Europe. So specifically Brescia, there wasn't really getting like any racial minorities as such. There was like quite an equal like proportion of everyone, and then there was me. And who stood out like a sore thumb.
You're the minority.
Yeah, it was weird. It was. I didn't feel like I was in danger or anything like that, but like.
People probably just peered at you like a rare species of bird. Like, oh, what is it? What is this? Where's he from?
It was just like, I don't know. It's the only time I've ever felt like that. And I just felt like. I think my anxiety went off a bit because I was like, oh god, I look so obvious. I'm so obvious. It's so obvious I'm not from round here.
You walk down the street and everyone's heads turned at you.
It wasn't like I was walking down the street.
They're all like blocking their eyes. Oh,
I can't see. It was like that at the beach, to be fair. Walking along Rimini Beach, it's just like. But it's yeah, to be fair, I wasn't like trying to draw attention to myself. It's not like I was walking down the street with like a big fucking beatbox and like singing like MCing like going yes I like just like, but I was just, I don't know.
You tip extra arm, tell the difference. Sorry, that was unnecessary. that was the most unnecessary joke ever.
One of my schoolmates before, I remember I took a picture in Newcastle, and I was on the bridge, and I was wearing a white t-shirt, and he went, and he made a point being like, "You look whiter than your t-shirt" or something. I was like, "Leave me alone." I like it, me. I used to hate having attention like put on me, but then I went into acting. So then it's like I don't mind it now. I don't walk around like look at me. But it's
I used to like I don't know, when I was like growing up I used to like quite like masking stuff when I was like very like common, like it's very popular. I don't, because when I was I would say a few years ago, like when it was like nice and sunny and I used to get out for the summer, I used to like, sort of go olive skin tone. So people say you look very olive. When I haven't really been in the sun, so I just look a bit tanned, but not really.
You give off European vibes, to be fair. Though.
I don't like. Obviously, I class myself as a white man, but like people say, like I sort of like Mediterranean European vibes to me. I don't know.
No, I see it though.
Like, I don't know. I don't know who I am though, because I'm not. I wouldn't say.
I don't know who I am.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm white. Well, I don't know how to say I'm white. But like, yeah, I'm like, who am I?
No,
I don't know where it comes from though. I mean, there's like.
But how much of your family history do you know?
Some. I mean, I know there's Italian and Irish on my dad's side.
The Italian's like pretty apparent, especially when you have a quip. Yeah. It's just like, hey!
Well, you would think the Irish should counteract it.
I don't know, like.
It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, but then I feel like some people focus on. I feel like some people, when they think about race, they focus on skin tone and rather than like other features.
I just think with me, it's like an offshoot of it. Like, I know like, my dad like, used to be quite tanned back in the day, but he was all like Cyprus and in the army and stuff. But I keep saying a lot. I'm doing it, but brain needs to catch up. I'll do it again.
Your dad was tanned a lot because he was in Cyprus, did you say?
But I feel like me, it's sort of like offshoot, like from generations before, like Italian, like offshoots come back and it's just like, oh, hey, this kid.
Yeah, like.
I don't know, because the rest of the family ain't very tanned.
Well, see, I
might just be adopted, I don't know.
I'm a bit of an outlier, but then, like, obviously, when I met, like, my dad's side of the family, I'm like, oh, I'm actually not, I just get...
Yeah, your dad's not, your dad seems a bit more tan than you, to be honest.
He's more red.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not, like... But then, both of my sisters are fairly pale.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Charlie's especially.
Yeah, but Charlie can tan. I can't. Same with
do you just burn straight away?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have actually seen. Yeah, I remember that Leeds Fest actually.
Yeah,
in
man.
the scorching hot sun, you just start bed. I'm like, what's
then
wrong with
just-
you? And you're like, I'm
It's
burning.
just like I ran to the toilets as quick as I could, but then I burned. It just like it's.
Do you know what it was? It was the day we were hungover on the coach back, and we were sat in a field, and
Yes, and it was that massive queue.
there's a massive queue, and we were sat in a field for like 3 hours queuing around to get the coaches, and it was about 32 degrees.
We nearly ended up fighting each other
and
because we were
we
getting
were
that angry.
hungover, and we were just done with everything. We were tired.
Because I kept like checking my phone. You're like, "Here, pack it in. We need that to go home." And I was just
Yeah,
like,
oh,
"Stephen, I'm checking the time." You're like, "Stop it! You got paranoid."
It had like 5 or 6% battery left. And
No,
we were
it
like,
wasn't that low. It was on like it's like 50% or something like that.
50, because I wouldn't have kicked on 50.
You did kick off over 50, and that's why I was like, "Why are you being so thingy about it?"
I don't know.
I think it's, you know what it was? Because I turned it off and then I turned it back on and then said like, "Oh, I'm just gonna leave it on in my pocket." And you're like, "What are you doing? It's gonna run out." Like,
Yeah.
but like,
To be fair though, my phone, I you had like little.
you're on an
charging-
iPhone, to be fair.
Yeah, true. That's what it is. I'm used to my phone.
Mine was this phone.
They had charging tents and it just didn't out. I maybe got like a few hours use out of it. Then I was like, oh, I need to pay to get charged up again.
I think I could have charged my phone quicker by rubbing it violently against my thigh than using those charge up tents. Because honestly, it was shite.
Yeah, they weren't good at all.
But yeah, I burn like crazy, mate. Like,
Sounds like you just came out like, yeah, I burn like crazy.
yeah, I burn. No, but you made a joke though when I came back, and you were like, "You look paler than what you did when you went." And I was like, "Haha, very funny, Stephen." That's because
I can't remember that.
you said that
as
when
as if you remember that.
I do.
You're
I'm very insecure.
I should pull out a notebook where everything everyone said to you.
I do. Yeah.
I bet you have a full notebook just on me and Jack alone.
No, I can. No, I just remember specific things like.
Don't pull it off. No, you don't.
Yeah,
You kept that stored.
No. Nonchalant.
Insecure little bitch.
No, it's more like well, you're not wrong. No, I remembered it because it was obviously like one of my first interactions with you after I came back. Because obviously I came back from Italy, didn't I? Like,
oh, when you came back from Italy?
Yeah.
Right, sorry.
because obviously I came back prematurely, and
Was that when we were in the pub at Southfield with Josh
Oh, your graduation?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to be able to go to yours and Josh's graduation initially, and so that was like one of the good things out of me coming back early. But yeah, I remember like I met you at the Southfield, and you kind of knew I was there. Like I called you.
Because Josh is the biggest giveaway ever. I spoke to him, and it was. Do you remember when I had like a surprise birthday thing, and he like, kept checking his phone and stuff, and I'm like, all his friends are here, man.
Yeah, why is he checking-
that's that. But like, I know he was overly checking his phone and stuff, and I was like, that's not like Josh. And he was like,
What did he do a similar thing on
he was
graduation?
acting weird. He can't lie.
For an actor, he can't lie for shit.
He can't. It was just during this notice someone's acting off and you're like,
Yeah. He's walking around like, "Hello, Steve." You're like, "Yeah, Josh, what's up, mate?" He's like, "Nothing. Everything's normal."
Yeah,
it's just like,
pretty much.
"Have you been thinking about Declan recently?" It's just like, "Yeah, he's in Italy," isn't he? He's like, "Yes, he is in Italy. Yes."
Yes, long way from here, approximately 3 hours away, but you'll never make it back in time.
It's not like he's round the corner or anything. Anyway, let's get graduating, shall we? And then I call. No, I remember I made a point because I was in Southfield pub and I told the staff, it was just like, "Oh, I'm back by surprise for graduation." And then I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go and do a video call real quick by the bushes or whatever." And I thought I'll do the bushes because they're looking conspicuous. It's like, "Oh yeah, I'm in my garden, mate, in Italy." And then you immediately like I could tell that you knew based on your reaction.
yeah.
So I was like, I just fucking like I aimed the camera at the Southfield, and you're like, "Ah."
yeah. So I'm like, oh, I have to pretend like I don't know. I knew all of that.
But we sat in that corner where all the actors usually go.
To be fair, you were on about coming back. Is what the initial giveaway. You were on about coming back like the week after, and you were saying, "Oh, like," because at first you were like,
Yeah, because
"Oh,
I bullshitted, didn't I? Say,
you bullshit," but it wasn't convincing. Now, and now in the back of my mind, I was like, "He's got to try and make it back out of here."
Yeah.
Save everyone.
In hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. I would have just left it completely to surprise. For some reason, I felt the need to say, just out of like, I don't know, giving you a bit of like,
Yeah, I get you.
Nah, I kind of wish I hadn't now. Yeah, because like it was so
Still
last
a good
minute.
day though.
Oh yeah,
Still a
like
good day, seeing
I
everyone.
think you were like it was kind of a surprise because you know
Yeah.
your day it wasn't 100% confirmed that I would be there, and obviously we got Jack along on that, and it was a good laugh at the Southfield. But yeah, I remember you was making a point. Like I was sat out in the pub, and you were like, somehow you look paler than what you did when you'd run away. And I was like, oh well, because like I spent the whole time hiding in the shadows, essentially trying not to get exposed to the sunlight.
You
it
did
just
look a
killed
bit
me.
like Ben though, a little bit.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it's so funny, right? Because I didn't get burnt in Italy because I like I said I was very careful about wearing
You came back to
sunscreen.
England.
I got burnt on my forehead. If you look at all the graduation
remember that, I
photos, I've
remember
got a
that,
massive
Tuesday.
burn on my head. And
Because we went out on night out afterwards, didn't we?
yeah, exactly, and it's just there the full time. Yeah, I came back from Italy unscathed. It's just like immediately like burnt. To be fair, we were out in the Southfield for quite a few hours, weren't we?
Just
So-
for anyone who doesn't know, everyone who watches this will probably know, but
Everyone will know the South.
it's one of our favourite pubs in
It's
Middlesbrough.
right off the campus, and it's a good pub, and I miss it very much.
It's just all around good vibes, you know. You want to go in for midday drinks or maybe some lunch.
Hey, they supported
yeah,
the
you know?
actors' cause, man. They put the full thing in, like you know, like.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
When we
And then
went-
one
when we
dickhead
went-
was like, "No, they should scrap the arts," and I was like, really angry about it. Nah, that was like our
I was
haven,
gonna
wasn't
say,
it?
you've gone slow on the Guinness.
I'm
It's
drinking
very,
it slow. It's because I'm speaking.
It's I never remembered liking it as much because I was saying to you earlier. I used
You
to
were
like.
kind of dreading it, weren't you?
Yeah, I was dreading it because I don't. Obviously, we're drinking out of cans, like not in the pub on draft. But I don't know. I tried it years ago, and I liked Guinness and black, but I didn't actually like Guinness by itself. And ever since I've always had Guinness and black. I've never tried it by itself again, but I've tried it this time, and I really like it. I wouldn't say I'd like it to go to drink, but I'd definitely just get one. On
I think it's good for your throat. Like
Well,
sorts me out in the winter if I have like a bad throat or something, or you know, it's a nice and I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like the hot chocolate of
It's
alcohol.
like they call it
Like-
a full body pint, don't they?
Yeah.
I was saying to you earlier, it's very nutritious.
So smooth. Like
Yeah.
I want it with marshmallows. You know what I mean? It reminds me.
Kind of, yeah,
You know
I
what I
think
mean?
they get that.
Like I said, that's what I was saying. Like it reminds me of like the hot chocolate almost, but like a drink. Like
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Because it's got that foamy thing with it as well.
Do you like John Smith's smooth as well? I quite like
Don't
that.
mind it.
The green one.
Although, like you know, preferably when I'm 50 odd.
It's one of the things that I'll drink. Yeah, it's a rare occasion. Now and again, have one during the day.
One of my friends from school's like obsessed. Like used to always drink it.
It's usually all men drinking though, isn't it? Yeah. It's
Yeah, I
like,
know. So
like
we call him an old man.
Worthingtons or
Yeah, it's I don't mind it. It's just yeah. Like to be fair, I'm more of a cider person. It's to be fair though, I think most people are probably exposed to drink. Like, well, I don't know. At least, maybe in the northeast, at least. Like, first thing I probably started drinking was Strongbow Dark Fruit.
nah, Morrison's own dry cider.
Really?
Yeah. When we were like 14, 15, we used to, well, probably about 15 actually. I tried drinking when I was 14, obviously nearly 15.
Yeah.
But when we were about 15, 16, me and
I was
mates,
14 and a half.
we used to like chip in our money and get some geezer to go to the shop with Bruce starts out the shop. And he'd go in and
All right, Danny Dyer.
get some geezer, right? But yeah, we'd wait outside like, the shop and there'd be a group of us. And I don't know, the girls would get usually, what was it, WKD or Smirnoff Ice, Smirnoff
Or
Ice.
BKs.
Yeah, stuff like that. And us lads was like so say if we were skint down a lot of money at the time, we'd all chip in and get like 3 bottles of 2 litres Morrison's dry cider. But it was actually all right. Like, actually all right for the money. But it would get you properly wrecked. 'Cause I remember going,
You were also 15.
yeah, just save someone at the house spare, whatever. Be like, oh, parents are out. Go on, we'll all go around have a drink.
I started drink. Well, to be fair, I probably started drinking earlier than that, but it wasn't like first time I think I started drinking. I was maybe like 13, but it wasn't drink. Like it was literally like
Like a taste of it.
shandy. Is it shandy? When it's like a mix of like lemonade and cider or something, or lemonade and lager. Yeah, I used to love shandy. I used to have that like for special occasions and
I
stuff.
thought you were going to say lager and cider like a snake bite.
I didn't have that until uni. Yeah, sorry. It's and then yeah, I never liked Snowball or anything like that at Christmas, so I used to have shandies and stuff. And then I moved on to I started getting invited to parties when I was maybe like like 14, 15. So at the end of school. And yeah, it was Strongbow Dark Fruit because I don't know why. It just I think I liked it because it didn't taste. It had a bit of a sweetness to it, and I remember drinking it so much because I was going to like parties pretty much every weekend.
Dark Fruits wasn't popular. Well, saying I'm older than you, so it was different. It wasn't that popular.
It might have peaked.
I don't even think it was out and about when I was that age.
We all like.
It was more for my age. It was like
You're like 2 years older than me,
it was
aren't you?
like
So
Caribbean Twist VKs. Glenn's vodka was a big one. Everyone was into Glenn's vodka.
me and my mum like Glens.
Can't beat Glenn's. Good old Glenn.
Me and mum like vodka. That's like my go-to thing on a night out. I love drinking like vodka cokes and stuff.
I'll do
I'm
that.
more into whiskey these days though.
Yeah, it depends where I am. If I'm in a pub, I usually drink like stuff like this or like pints, and then I'll maybe have like a whiskey chaser or bourbon. But if I'm in nightclubs, I go to like vodka coke. I feel like it's easy to just
vodka coke's an easy thing to just sip and you can down it if you need to as well. Like, and they're quite cheap.
Or gin and lemonade.
Gin and lemonade.
Or gin and tonic. Actually, gin and tonic. Yeah, I'm quite.
It's weird, yeah, because like I have different drinks depending on like the situation. Like,
yeah, it depends on the situation where you are.
I like to drink wine when I'm inside. I don't like drinking it out. And it's usually I have I prefer rosé. Like I remember when I was at university, I'd.
Do you not like white or red? It's weird that you went straight down the middle of rosé.
Really?
Well, not weird, but like
I don't mind white or red.
Oh, you don't mind? I
prefer rosé.
I thought you were saying that you don't like white or red, but you like rosé.
No.
That's what I found weird that you didn't like.
I'm a bit weird with red. I actually prefer like it being cooled.
Yeah.
I had funny enough when I was away, they had like sparkling red wine, and it was really nice. It was when I was in Bergamo.
Kind of want to try it. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of red wine.
Well, this was a rich family, and they got it like sent over from another region or whatever, and it was banging.
It depends where it's from, though. 'Cause, when I was like younger, I tried French red wine. It tastes very vinegary. I didn't really like it. But then
You're obsessed with vinegar in Italy, though.
But then I tried a South African red, which is quite nice. And I realised like it's different.
Suddenly he had a compulse to play rugby.
It's different from where you are, like where it's from. But I quite like white wine. But I only drink wines like say if I'm out. Usually if I'm out with friends having lunch or if I'm on like a date or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's rare that I drink wine if I'm just out having a drink. I have to have lunch with it or a meal.
Main reason I said about wine drinking it inside is because like either I'm just chilling or I'll have I remember I'd buy 2 bottles of rosé, the really cheap and nasty stuff from around the corner, like one of the corner shops or whatever.
Ketchup, Declan.
One moment.
Do you know, I can't wait for this in the. Well, I was going to say in the pub, but. Yeah. Oh, he's going for it. It's making a weird.
Right. As I was saying.
I know you meant to like leave it set halfway.
Yeah, please leave it to set.
I'll leave it set at the end.
But yeah, I used to buy 2 bottles and I'd just down it. But the thing is, it would go down like juice when I was inside. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm not fazed by this. And then I'd walk outside and it was just like getting hit by a truck.
I can't.
Yes, I will.
What, after the wine?
Yeah, it just hit me like a truck. This is for all the viewers at home. One sec.
Oh, the ASMR on that.
Yeah. I did that on Xbox before. I was running obviously I run the lobbies on the weekend playing Halo, and I had a bunch of British guys in the lobby, and I had like a bottle of cider with me, and I went, can of cider with me, and I was like, all right guys, try not to climax when I do this, and I went, and they went, ah, all at the same time. It was like 16 people all at once just went, ah. It was great. But yeah, I used to drink rosé pre-drinks and stuff because it was just easy to drink. And then what else would I drink? Like, I drink whiskey at the pub a lot, to be honest.
I tell you what's ideal, like, do you remember the stubbies we used to have at pre-drinks?
Beer Dior, whatever it's called.
See if it was Beer Dior, we were like...
They were cheap. They were like £4 for a crate.
It was when, like, your student loan hadn't came in yet, and, like, you were poor students, and you both had, like, £4 each, so you got 10 stubbies, which were, like, I think they were 4% or 4.5%.
Yeah, if you shot them, you were sorted.
So we got, like, so it was, like, 4 of us, we get a crate of them each, 10 beers, and they'd be wrecked.
I miss stuff like that about uni. Like, honestly, like, it was just so funny because
my liver doesn't.
Oh yeah. One thing I was gonna say about, obviously, when how I said I was drinking lots of cider when I was younger, like, I struggle drinking it now because, like, I don't know if it's like the enamel on my teeth, but I used to drink so much of it when I was like between the ages of like 14 to like 17 that, like, it must be all the sugar in it. It just like took the enamel off my back teeth. So when I drink cider now, like I had cider the other night, I can't eat properly the next day because I'll bite into something with sugar or something in it, and it's really sensitive at the back and it hurts.
Oh, that's weird. You must have drank a lot of cider. Are you sure it's a cider? It's not just other sugary stuff you've had.
Well, that's the only thing I can think about that I was like really drinking like or drinking or eating. Like it's.
I mean, you do like your biscuits, but saying I did too. But
I wasn't binging them at the time. I didn't start doing that. I went through a bit of a biscuit craze. God, fucking rock and roll me.
You and your bourbons.
Yeah, my creams.
You have like biscuit bandoliers on you. You're like a Mick Vitti Rambo.
I've got like a fucking Bourbon Claymore. Like, it's just a big fucking packet. But yeah, like no.
I don't know why you went. So yeah, that's a fact. You can't just go, oh yeah, anyway.
Yeah, anyway, let's just sidetrack that. Yeah, that was completely normal anyway.
Comedy gold, man. Someone sounds.
Imagine if the news did that. It's just like, there is an asteroid hurtling towards Earth. Anyway, the local church council has. It's just like, wait, go back.
It's like, Jackie Weaver, you have no power.
Jackie Weaver.
Did you see that? Was crazy, man.
I fucking loved that.
It was like,
you have no power. You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver.
The old people were kicking off a fuss.
It just reminds me of like Emperor Palpatine. Was like, you have no power here, Jackie Weaver.
That's what I loved though. One of the guys, he was just staying back out of it while they were arguing. He was just pissed himself
laughing at it. Poor Jackie Weaver. She just wants to be heard. It's so stupid though.
Well, some might say she started a coup.
A coup against Christ. Nah, it's speaking of Christ, how fucking handy would have that been at uni? Like turning water into wine. Like,
poor students, Jesus turns up. Don't worry, guys, I got this.
Hey, have you invited Jesus to pre-drinks? It's just like, I haven't got. It's like, oh, we can't go out tonight. Our student loan hasn't come in. It's just like, oh, just invite Jesus along. He's got us sorted.
He's like, hey, my G.
But the thing is, though, you'd have no money. You'd get into like a free nightclub, and it's like, oh, what we're gonna do? We can't drink. It's like, oh, just come to the nightclub toilets. I'll sort you out. Like, it's like, oh, thanks, Jesus. It's like, it's horrible.
Did you hear the on about putting? Well, I'm more of a serious subject. There's that
anyway.
No, I did it anyway. Do you know about putting the undercover police in bars and nightclubs? Do you know, apparently there was that young lady that was, well, I don't know if she was sexually, well, I think she was sexually assaulted, don't know, and then died. I'll be honest, I haven't really been up in the news lately. I've just saw it all online briefly. Yeah. But turns out it was a member of the police that did that, or like
I heard that.
What wasn't it, like a new trainee, or not a trainee, but someone who's on probation period?
I don't know the specifics. I know it was.
I think
police.
I'm not too sure, but the thing is, I'm not putting undercover police to make women safer. I was like, hold on a minute.
It'd be more edge.
I was like, yeah, it was one of you guys in the first place, you fuckers.
But my sister made a really good point. I hope she doesn't mind. She'll probably be listening to this. She probably won't mind me saying it. She made the point of, like, obviously there's this whole obviously educate your men thing argument at the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't like this whole hashtag not all men because I think it does detract from the initial message.
Yeah.
But I think a really good point me and my sister were talking about was like, it's not like about men respecting women. It's just about people being respectful in general, to be honest. Like,
it's about being brought up and having good morals.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to do that stuff, you know.
And like, you shouldn't be treating like making it like respect women properly. I think that's just, and you're gonna hate me for saying this word, it's polarizing the issue with gender.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my sister made another good point where it's like, yeah, this is very much, you know, like a man taking advantage of a woman. But then think another level up. It's a policeman.
It's someone with power and authority.
Exactly.
It's not just a man. It's someone who's.
That seems
it's very
to be
much like
swept under.
It's very much like like Weinstein. Obviously Prince Andrew. Someone in power taking advantage of people.
Exactly. And especially the police, because they're supposed to make you feel safe. And I feel like it became very much a gender thing. But like that, I think the whole police thing's scarier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm all for the initial message. Like, you know, people shouldn't, like, a lot of women that I know have the issue, you know, that have been like harassed and stuff like that. And like, I can't imagine that. Like, that would be fucking horrible. And not feeling safe. And I'm glad about the message. I just don't want it to become this, like with all good things, I don't want it to go into the extremist end. Like, for example, they were on about introducing a 6 p.m. curfew.
One fucking batshit crazy lady said that,
which is stupid though.
But at the end of the day, I still say batshit crazy because it's fucking ridiculous. End of the day,
people like that scare me though.
If someone finishes work and a 9 to 5 job, they finish work at 5 p.m. right, and they want to take a dog for a walk, whatever. What, they've got 1 hour after work to go and do that after. It's not thought through.
Exactly.
You can't have these people in power. I believe it was a politician who made that statement. But you can't have these people in power just making these random statements off the top of the head and not really thinking it through or following it through.
That's going the other way. Yeah. That you're deliberately treating a group differently based on gender, essentially.
I tell you what pissed me
off. And that's what causes issues.
There was a lot of Tory MPs that was saying as soon as this happened, like a week later, they were like, oh, we want a full investigation by the police, this, that, and the other. Why was this happening? This shouldn't have. But like, it seemed like they were jumping on the bandwagon to try and promote themselves. They didn't like. You could.
Wasn't about the issue. It was about look how good we are.
Yeah, it was like it's like they're trying to make themselves look these Tory MPs are trying to make themselves look the hero in that situation.
Aren't these the same fuckers that are taking away funding from forces like the police?
Yeah, and it honestly, do you know what you just tell straight away? They don't give a shit about the situation in hand. They just want to try and promote themselves. And I just thought, you just
it's so alien to them though as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. That's what I don't like about this government. But
that's another thing. People in power, they're not sorting anything out or helping. They're just abusing the authority.
I think another point we were on about where it was like because obviously like my sister's a mum, and she was saying like obviously if she ever had a daughter, she would never want. We were pretty much saying that like women shouldn't be like victimized at a young age of such. It's like, oh, you need to be careful and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I think that sets a dangerous precedent for that.
Well, people are about now and they're like, don't tell your daughter to be careful. Tell your son to not. You know, teach him good morals, and then it won't
just teach
happen.
everyone good morals, and don't victimize someone from a young age, because I think that's dangerous, man. You want to empower everyone. You want everyone to feel like safe and secure, and it shouldn't shouldn't become a gender thing. I think we need to stop that's the kind of gender normality things we need to kind of scrap, where it's like your son should be looking after your daughter and stuff like that. It's like
we need to treat people as human beings. Like we're all on the same planet. We're all going to the same grave or same afterlife, whatever. We just need to treat each other as humans, not he, she, they, them. You
know what? Gender should only ever come into play when it comes to the idea of reproduction. If you're on about having kids, that's the one time gender should be a thing. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be at the forefront of fucking everything. And that's the issue, and that's why I'm 100% obviously, fucking bring out this cause about female victimization, obviously, like women being harassed and stuff. Yeah, fucking go them. but we need to stop putting gender at the forefront of everything.
I mean, obviously, we can't speak for women because we're not in that group. We can't.
Yeah, we're not.
But at the same time, no one should feel that they can't do what they want to do in life and shouldn't feel safe. You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
It's just shit.
Well, like, I don't know if you can... You could probably say the same thing as me. Like, regardless of whether someone's male or female, if I'm aware that someone has to walk home, I'll always ask them to message me back. Hell, even if they're not walking home, they get a taxi, I'll ask them to message me because I like to know they got home safe. And that's not to suck my own dick, but that's how people should be.
I even say like girl mates, guy mates. It's just a polite thing to do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It shouldn't just be specifically a female thing. Everyone should want to be feeling safe. And like I said, unfortunately, there's a lot of fucking arseholes out there who happen to be men who will just take advantage, and it's fucking disgusting. But like I said, as a society moving forward, we need to sort of shed these sort of stereotypes where it's like I said, females being victimized, feeling vulnerable. Everyone should feel empowered. Everyone should feel safe at the end of the day.
I feel like as well they need to look at like these men who have been they're committing these sort of crimes and that. The government and police need to look at where's his life gone that's caused him to do this stuff. Is there something fundamentally in the background of his mind, maybe mental illness, other trauma? Does this guy I mean, obviously he's a criminal, he's committed an offence, but
wasn't it murder? Was it actually anything sexual?
I'm not about that specific case.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm just about in general, generalising in general, like, I don't know, like many who are committing crimes such as these. Like, I think there needs to be like a background look of like what's going on. How can we try and prevent this? How can we try and fix this person to rejoin society eventually once he's served a sentence, so he's not going to go out and do this again? Because I feel like that's a big problem. You know what I mean? People like you get many that commit rapes, like sexual assault, go to prison for a bit, straight back out doing the same thing again. And it's vicious.
There's fundamentally something wrong.
They're letting these people out in society doing the same thing. And they're not looking at how can we stop this happening again.
No, 100%. One argument I've heard.
But I wasn't talking about that specific case. Sorry.
No, sorry. I thought because obviously you'd mentioned it previously.
Yeah. But I think she was. I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure she was like sexually assaulted or raped and murdered.
Right. Okay.
They found the body in the woods, I believe.
It's just fucking horrible. Like I said, it's horrible. Like I said, with that whole thing, I don't specifically focus on the gender thing. I focus on the fact that was someone that was supposed to protect you.
Yeah.
And they've took advantage of someone who happened to be female. But like I said, a lot of women do feel unsafe walking about at night. Like, and that's not right. You shouldn't.
It just gives them another reason to be unsafe. If they feel unsafe as the police officer, someone you can trust.
Yeah, exactly. But sorry, the one thing I was going to say, it's like locker room talk and shit like that. Like that it's one of those things that obviously me and you've kind of grown up with that, where it's like, oh, she's fucking, I do, like that. Just like kind of quite vulgar sort of statements being casually thrown around.
I would argue that's talk and not acting. Right? Like, I was saying to you the other day about psychopaths and like murderers. What's the one thing stopping everyone? Everyone's killed someone in the mind. It's what's stopping us being murderers is the practice of not acting upon that.
What I would say though, as much as like it's a case of not acting, that those individuals aren't acting on it.
Yeah.
I think it sets a precedent. Like, for some people to be like, you know what? Like, I don't think, like, the initial person might not actually, like, there might be no sort of, like, motivation behind it. But because it's being so normalised, someone might take that.
There's a strange kid in the corner of the locker room, like, taking all in, like,
but literally, that's the thing. Like, and I've never really been a massive fan of that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I've seen a pretty good girl, and I've felt the need to be like, she was really nice looking, but I just don't get how that could like manifest into like anything horrible like that.
I don't think locker room talk has out to do with that though. Personally,
I think it doesn't help.
Yeah, I don't think it's directly involved in it though. I know what you're saying, it doesn't help, but I don't.
The thing is, I always feel like I would never like publicly like out, like, you know, like just sort of like, you know, when you hear like cat callers and stuff like that, I'd never do anything
Yeah,
like that. I wouldn't dream of it.
Yeah.
Because I
I
don't
think
wanna
it's
make anyone feel-
embarrassing, to be honest.
Well, yeah, but also like imagine how that individual must feel walking by trying to get by, and then like you're worrying that, you know, someone's gonna scream out like, "Ooh, you're all right, sexy," like something like that. Like I'd hate that. I'd be on edge constantly. You know what I mean? Like it's just. You know, the idea of like you're walking around in a club and someone's gonna slap your ass and stuff. Like hell, it's happened to me at like uni. It threw me off. Like I was just like,
I remember me and my ex used to go to a gay bar before, and it used to have good music, so we used to go there.
was your ex a boy?
No.
No, take the piss.
My ex is a female.
She is a female woman,
Yeah.
very real.
Anyway, we used to go like a gay bar dance or whatever, and it was weird, you know, because I'd obviously like I've been in old clubs and you see like lads go about slapping girls' ass stuff, which I'd never do that. It's weird.
Just
you know what I mean?
personal space. Why would
Yeah,
you do it?
it's just disrespectful. Anyway, but then I was on the other end of that because I was dancing with her or whatever, and then like I felt someone slap my ass and she was in front of me, and I'm like, what the fuck? And there's this guy behind me, so I was like, did you see that? And she's like, yeah, just ignore it, whatever. And I'm like, all right, I'll ignore it. Then it happened again, so I was like, I pulled the guy, I was like, I pulled him out of the show, I was like, hey, what do you think you're doing? Like, that's not on that. I said at one time, yeah, a bit of a joke, but you know what I mean? And
that's one of those things
and
where
they did it a third time, and I think I squared up to him, and I was just like, you're taking the fucking piss now, like that. Because they went just like, he was like,
that's not consensual.
Because at the time, I was sort of keeping an eye, you could see him like sort of like scoping around the club and like looking for like fresh meat or whatever. I just thought
Fresh meat.
it's like a jail or something. No, but it's the first time as a lad, like I like. But it's a weird experience. That like I'm not saying all lads I'd recommend getting touched up in a gay bar. I wouldn't. But I'm just saying it's weird to experience that on the other side of the other foot.
I remember
you know, you see a lot of stuff happen in normal clubs like lasses and that, but when it's happening to you in the club, it's like, what the fuck?
See, I've never had that issue in a gay bar. I've had that like issue in like a normal
a normal bar.
No, a normal bar. no, like just a standard bar. Yeah, there was this one lass that just got like used to like just slap my ass constantly. I was like, can you stop? Like, I'm not into this. Like, but like, I remember. In fact, it's funny that you said.
I can imagine you kick off with someone like, will you stop doing that? She's actually blind.
She's trying to find a dog. No, it's not. I can't imagine. And that's the thing. Like, that's only happened to me like a few times. Like, I can't.
You used to go back every week.
I'm not into this.
Stop
wink,
it!
wink.
Come on.
No, I wasn't, because I was like, I didn't consent to it. You know, it made me feel uncomfortable. Like it's just.
How many times did you do it though?
There's three occasions I can remember.
Separate occasions. Or
It was
same,
one particular person that I
same
knew.
night or different nights.
Twice in one night, one separate night. But the other time, that was the outlier wasn't at a club. It was at the SU actually.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't into it. I was like, this isn't consensual. You please stop. I remember giving her like a proper death stare. It's like,
yeah.
But I find it funny what you said about the gay bar thing, because I remember when so long story short, we went to go and see a friends play in Manchester, and we got stranded in Manchester, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because pretty much I'd recently moved to the area, and I wasn't familiar with the bus timetables, was I?
Yeah,
So
and then you
we
were like,
saw the plane Salford.
you,
And we'd walked into
you
Manchester.
thought the last bus was at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then
that turned out it was my dad had pretty much like told me the bus times.
Wasn't it a Saturday and it was Monday to Friday? It was usually on.
Yeah.
Because I think we were going to get the bus at midnight. Was it?
Well, yeah, because my dad had told me,
missed it,
like buses run until about 4 o'clock on a Saturday. But I didn't hear the Saturday part. I thought you were like, every day. I was like, hey. So we saw the play in Salford, and then we'd moved in the pub we went to was class, to be fair. The one where we had the revelation.
Was that when you were drinking Tiki Fire at the bar?
Yes.
Because the bartender.
It's on my Instagram story.
What's the strongest stuff you got? He's like, because he said, I've got my nephew. I was like, we've got Tiki Fire, that's stronger. He brought it back. I was like, this is going to get you fucked up.
Yeah, it's on my, if anyone has me on Instagram, it's on one of my Instagram collections. Like my 22nd birthday.
Something like that, I don't know.
Yeah, Yeah, my 22nd. And it's
It was funny though.
it was funny, yeah, because we went to go and see like Tia's play. And
The thing is, we met like so many like fun people. Like even the group of lads we were chatting to, like football fans and all about music and all sorts. Of stuff.
we were foreigners in a strange land.
Yeah, it was like very much like we realised we missed the bus, and the next one wasn't.
Your reaction was mid.
The next one wasn't about 5:30.
Because I looked down at my phone. We were at the actual bar, sat down, weren't we? And I went, Stephen, and you're like, what? And I was like,
I think I said, didn't I? We missed the bus, haven't we?
and I didn't even say it. You went, we've missed the buses, haven't we? I was like, they're not running, Stephen, full stop. They haven't been running for hours. And then you went, fuck it. And then you went, barkeep.
Another 2 pints.
We've just got on it. And we literally stayed out until about... Well, we were out until the sun came up because we had to wait.
Well, yeah, because we ended up in the only place open was like I think it was like Manchester's Gay Village. Was it called the Gay Village or the Gay Scene?
Yeah, it was the Gay Village in Manchester, right back round the corner from the bus station.
We went in one club at first, and we ended up in another club because
a lot of them were shutting though.
Yeah, the last one I did like a pat down, didn't I? I had like a charger or something. I was like, it's just a charger.
No, but before we got to that though, we tried going to loads of different pubs. We ended up in a subterranean pub at one point. That was such a weird night.
It was such a weird bar as well. Like it was
cool.
It was cool. There's a lot of cool people there. To be fair, like I feel like everyone who met that night we got on with and had a good laugh. But it was such a like weird layout of the bar because you went down some steps and it was like it reminded me of a bus station.
Yeah, I get that. It was really dark. Like because you walked in. Like it was. Yeah,
you walked in down some steps and like they look like old part of an old bus station. There's a little bar and a little seating area.
Didn't we get like? Didn't we like? We went to one pub at the edge of Salford or something. Like, but before we went to Manchester, and it was super expensive. So we were like, "Fuck this, we're not staying."
Oh yeah,
here.
It was like we went down loads of steps and it was an old fashioned sort of bar. It was quite cool now because we had a few pints in there, didn't we?
Which one am I about? The one I'm thinking about is like it looked like a proper nightclub, and we'd walked in, and it was super expensive.
Was that the one where it was dead? Where we went upstairs and it was dead and boring?
Super expensive.
We went to one side of the bar, and we were like, "Oh, it's not many people here. Maybe there must be down the other end." We walked the other end. There's no one there. We were like, "What the fuck?" Like we got told this is a place to go.
Yeah, the place to be. Where is everyone? A man with a top hat and a cane was just like, "Don't you worry, boys. It'll soon freshen up." Some 1940s music coming. Everyone starts dancing in like. We're doing a scat on the table. Just like, it's like, oh boy, this is great. But no, we fucked off. And we went further in, and I think some people from that club had left as well, and they were on like a works do or something. I think some of them from Ireland.
Yeah, they were from Ireland, yeah.
And we went to the subterranean pub there, lost them after that, and then we went off on a mad adventure trying to find more places, and all the places were shutting.
We ended up in a chicken shop because we got some chicken there, and I was...
We nearly died in there.
I was so drunk at that point because all the drink hit me at once, and I don't really remember being in there, to be honest. I only remember when you told me afterwards. I remember being sat at the table eating chicken. I don't know how I even managed to order it.
We were in a booth. I remember part of it. We were in a booth and we were like our energy was so low because we'd been out for hours at this point.
Yeah, we were knackered. It was like absolutely knackered, no energy.
We were literally. I remember a conversation we had when we were drunk. We were literally contemplating like sitting outside the bus station until dawn, like and going to sleep on a bench.
We found that bar, didn't we? We went to, and that was really good, and that was open till about 5. And then
in the Gay Village, because we walked to Charlton Street where the main bus station was, and we were like, oh, the Gay Village is open, so we were like, fuck it, we'll go in.
Yeah.
And it was all right, to be fair. I didn't mind it. And funny enough, we saw some people from Tia's play in the Gay Village that night, which was quite weird.
There was a lass and lad, one or two. I don't know.
There was a few lasses and like a lad, I think.
Yeah, so we were chatting to them.
But anyway, this massive tangent because we were up until like. We didn't get back to like fucking cold or whatever like until about like 8 or 9 o'clock. We were dead on the bus.
Because it was about the bus was like shoot was like 5:45 in the morning. So the bar shuts at 5. We walked to the bus station for about 10-15 minutes. Then we sat there a good half an hour in the bus stop, and some guy walks past. He's just sat at the bus stop, absolutely hanging,
nearly dying,
waiting for the bus,
trying to stay away.
And some guy walks past, and he's got like a massive bag of cocaine in one hand. And near enough a full bottle of Jack Daniels in the other, and he's like, oh, well, lads, do you want to get on it? Like, are you off session? And we're like, mate, I literally said, mate, the fucking sun's up. I was like, no.
Hey, we've been session all night. It's just like,
It was just absolutely dead.
we weren't supposed to. That's the thing. We were supposed to go home early.
It's just mental. It's like Liam Gallagher cutting about in real life, but like it is
All right, lads.
off his tits. So it's just like a big bag of cocaine, a massive bag of cocaine, in fact, and a big bottle of Jack Daniels. He was like, "Do you want to go?" I'm like, "No."
To be fair, right? That's the longest I've spent in gay bars because I've been.
You homophobe. No, honestly, the music's banging.
I was gonna say, yeah,
honestly, the music in gay bars is actually better than like other bars have been.
Well, there was a lad I knew at
Enjoy
uni. You know him as well. We went down to
It's
London.
like throwback music, isn't it? It's like proper,
Yeah, like probably like you would not be shocked if Venga Boys came on. But like,
No, I meant like throwback like early 2000s.
oh no, but like Venga Boys would fit in right at that kind of sort of scene because it was very
I
like
think that's over the top. Like, boys.
no, but a lot of it was though. That's the thing. It was a lot of like very cheesy music.
Yeah, like
as well.
dying. I was like upside down or whatever.
Yeah, it was. But the one we went to, the last one we stayed in, I think it was like I remember like a guy kept like trying to like hit on you. And you were like, gently, can you stand in the way, please?
Yeah.
And then I talked to you, I was just like, why no guys hitting on me? I was genuinely like upset. Like, it was just like it's not going to go any further.
Yeah,
but I was just upset. I was just
there was like well, I wouldn't say bigger, like sort of like.
He was bigger than you.
It wasn't like fat, though, it was like sort of like toned. And he's like in a white shirt, and I was like, it's that guy there. I was like, do you mind just standing in the way? I was like,
I'm starting like flirtatiously dancing.
yeah.
Like, Declan, what you doing? It's just like, it'll do wonders for my self-esteem, Steve. Woman or guy, I don't care. If they say I'm pretty, I'll take it. But yeah. Yeah, I remember saying that to you, and you were like, shut the fuck up. I was just like, it's upsetting.
All like
I fucking loved it.
Like 2 straight lads in the game. It was a fun night.
Yeah, it was great. It was a proper weird club though. Like the actual shape of it, from what I remember.
Yeah, I think
drinks were quite cheap as well. Actually,
I think that's just the thing in Manchester. The shape of the clubs are weird because they're like, probably old buildings or banks or whatever.
My dad's obviously like a massive like Mancunian. He loves it.
Mancunian.
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 I said Mancunian. I don't know. I don't know.
Panconian. Mancunian.
He likes Manc. He likes Manc.
Mancunian.
He likes Manc and Oasis and the Stone Roses. Yeah.
Can you tell about name we come from?
No, I haven't actually. What was the name we came from?
What was it? It was Stocky McJagger.
Stocky McJagger. That was it.
It's just the way he moves.
I'm sorry, Dad. That was Steve's name, not mine. It's a compliment, if anything.
Yeah, it's a compliment. It's a compliment.
He's just got charisma, hasn't he?
That's what we're about.
He's like me if I fully realise my full potential. Like
he's got the charisma. He can go up and like talk to anyone, and he's not like I can imagine.
People immediately like he's cool. Him. Like
yeah, I can imagine his like dance moves sort of like Mick Jagger, so we call him Stocky. But he's like also very stocky. He's a very stocky guy, isn't he?
Honestly, when stuff goes back to normal, me, you, and my dad need another night out. The last one was great.
I remember what didn't we like I remember being really drunk in a taxi, and then the taxi,
used to was shit faced.
The taxi driver was like giving us shit, so we just went stop here. We jumped out the taxi or something. And it was like,
this was after my birthday, wasn't it?
Was he charging us a fortune to go down the street? And we were like, nah, fuck this. We like stopped the taxi. He's like, no. He's like, no. He's like, no. So we just went, alright. Because we were on a bank and they had some traffic lights and there was like a queue of traffic. So we just went. He was arguing with us. So
He'd not went far, by the way. We didn't full on taxi jump.
Like, it was ridiculous. Anyone would have done it. Like, he was trying to charge a fortune because basically...
It's like a tenner or whatever for down the road.
He saw us drunk and it was down the street. I had a shot £2. I was like, nah, fuck this amount. It was ridiculous standard. Like,
it was... Yeah, it was fucking silly. But then I remember... conversation you had with a taxi driver. This guy happened to be of Asian descent, and it wasn't anything racist that you said. It was genuinely wholesome.
I don't remember this.
You made a point. I think me and my dad were like, "Shut the fuck up, Stephen." You were like,
I don't remember this.
you were
Where's
like,
this going?
you pretty much, because obviously the area we lived in, it was a very dated area.
Yeah.
And obviously it was like living in an episode of Heartbeat. Like there was a lot of like racism and stuff.
Yeah.
And you were like, "Oh, God, man, I feel so bad for you living around here with all the racism and stuff." Like, and, you know, I put my feel for you and stuff. And me and my dad were just like, "Will you shut the fuck up, Steve?" You're like, "Have a good night, mate." And I could tell the guy was like, "This guy, he needs to shut up." He's just like fuck, he's got like.
No, it's true. Like even like
it was at midnight. I loved it.
Even like growing up around here, you do get like a lot of like I don't know what like not as much these days, but I feel like when we were younger, there's a lot of like racism, like hidden.
Still, the dickheads still do it.
It's like
though.
hidden racism still about in the streets. You know what I mean?
My dad made a point before where it was. He said like it's a funny way of thinking about it. He was like, he has more respect for open racists because at least they've got the fucking balls to say it. He hates it when people are like, you know, they'll have like they'll approach someone who's like of a different race color and they'll be like, "Ah, you all right, mate?" You know, ha ha. And then like they'll talk and then they'll go away and then they'll start bitching about them.
They'll have like
and
a group of mates there, and they'll take the piss and they'll go up and act like his mates, and it's like.
That's it. And all races are dickheads. We're all like me, my dad, you. We're all on the same page about that. But like he was just saying, like if anything, it's more harmful when it's like, you know, that under sort of tone of racism because it's harder to identify immediately.
I think like probably my drunken state is what I've been. That is like obviously like, it can't be nice for someone like obviously like. You know what I mean? But you just can't be nice to grow up in that way. Like, you know what I mean? Obviously, we haven't experienced that.
Well, I remember my dad said he had to go to someone at the pub because he was pretty much just like saying like all this horrible stuff about like, oh, they're coming over here and stuff like that. And my dad made the point, it's just like that Indian guy like doing taxi runs or whatever has more in common with you than the guys running our country. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah. It's just race.
It's what I think's stupid as well. It's like people are like, oh, people coming over and like, well, where did your ancestors come from? I guarantee somewhere along the line
We're a
they
mongrel
fucking
nation,
travelled about. It's just so no. People need to stop looking at. People need to stop looking at countries and planets and where they're from and just go
and planets.
Not well, maybe eventually when thousands of years down the line.
What can I say? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
But we need to stop looking at this sort of stuff and just look. Right, someone on Earth's moved from this place on Earth to another place on Earth.
Yeah,
they're not. You know what I mean? Like that's all it is.
Oh, so can I make the point? Countries are completely fictitious concepts. We just made them up. Countries aren't real.
Yeah,
you don't walk over a bit of land and it's like, oh shit, I'm in India now, or I'm in bloody Kazakhstan,
it's probably just like kings
Scotland,
and that back
Canada.
in the day, or like democracy back in the day, sort of drew a borderline, went right, we're calling this our country. You have that bit of land.
Oh yeah, the concept kind of makes sense, but it's like you know what I mean.
I'm not trying to make sense of it. I'm just saying it's weird.
Oh, I understand it though.
That's where it comes from.
But like people act, it's just like you're from this, you know, you're from the other side of this imaginary line. It's just like, oh, you're a bad and you.
Well,
like,
it's weird. It's like us with like obviously Ireland's like separate, isn't it? It's divided by sea at least. But like Scotland and Wales, there's the imaginary land there, and they just say welcome to Scotland, and you're just like, all right.
But that's the thing, you shouldn't be defined by that. Can I also make the point, if you go back so many millions of years ago, we were all on one big fucking landmass. We were on Pangaea, so we're all Pangeans, essentially.
That's what I'm trying to get. So it's like, yeah, we're all from the same place originally.
We were one massive supercontinent, but you know, like, people don't see that. It's just land. It's nothing. Like,
yeah.
If anything, it's when people become more divided when they focus on the sort of, like, notions of like, oh, pure race and, you know, like cultural identity and stuff. Like, hell, you can be patriotic, right? But patriotic isn't necessarily hating everything that isn't your country. It's about respecting the country's individuals and trying to be proud of what you are. You know what I mean? It's not putting other things down.
Yeah.
And that's what I hate. Like, you get these people who in England who are like, oh yeah, like, you know, I nearly made a Skyrim reference there. It's got Skyrim is for the Nords. But it's like, oh, like, you know, like England's for the English and shit. Like, I'm just like, But no,
Hold on, though. But back in the day, right? We like the British back in the day. We invaded everywhere.
Yes.
How can we not expect some like?
we've been invaded more times than I can like even recall. Like you know what I mean?
What do you mean? We've invaded other places.
We've
not we-
but we've been invaded as well.
True. Yeah. True.
Like
yeah.
France has invaded us. The Vikings invaded.
Vikings definitely invaded us.
Who
yeah.
else has invaded us?
Vikings,
The Romans.
The
Romans
Vikings did actually took over England completely back in the day.
Did they?
Yeah, there's only the Kingdom of Wessex that stood between them and total, like, well, not annihilation. I don't know, because obviously things could have played out differently in history, could have been on uprising, G7, whatever. But they came right down the country from Northumbria in the north, right the way down, and they definitely invaded Ireland as well, part of Ireland, Scotland, France.
Yeah.
But yeah, they could have easily taken over England
What's the
if
thing?
things turned out a bit differently.
The Romans invaded us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've been invaded by so many different...
Romans got so obviously Hadrian's Wall. They got so far up and then.
Well, yeah.
That's another thing. Right, we can't be asked with them lot. We're building the wall here.
At least they built a physical wall
Yeah.
rather than said like, oh yeah, this is where the country ends. Like fucking, it's just stupid.
It's kind of
mate.
funny though, like about like just the fact that Romans got so far up Britain and just thought, I can't be asked. Like these are
Caesar.
vicious bastards too. We'll build a wall and just say we invaded it fully.
Just like, was Caesar in charge at the time? Who was in charge?
I believe so. No, was it Caesar? No. Yes,
You're the history
yes.
guru on this table. I'm not the.
Yes, it was. I believe.
If we're wrong,
I might be wrong, but I believe
feel
it
free
was.
to comment if we're wrong.
Caesar, I know he was dealing more with the Germanic tribes back in the day.
That's the thing as well. Like, it's so weird to think about countries like not as they are now. You know what I mean? Like in earlier stages, because I feel like, you know, when you think about certain parts of history,
Yeah.
you kind of like, you don't think about the whole world. You kind of think about a particular nation.
Well, it's like,
You know what I mean?
remember, I don't know if you was talking before, but I was like, do you know, back in like the 1805 to 1812, 1815, when it was like Napoleon Bonaparte versus Sir Arthur Wellesley, the English versus the French, Napoleon.
You
Obviously,
were saying about the fight on two fronts.
yeah, but also Britain was fighting France there, and also they were fighting Americans because Americans were trying to like obviously reclaim
Independent,
land.
yeah,
They
yeah.
tried to become independent from Britain, like reclaim land.
That was all over taxation and stuff, wasn't it? Though, so like when they didn't like the idea of being taxed for a.
Yeah, basically, well, there was a lot more to that, but basically it was like British were like treating them as second-class citizens,
Yeah.
pretty much. That's the whole basis of it. There's more to it than that. But then basically, Britain realised that they needed to reinforce the troops that were fighting, because we actually got chased out of Spain and Portugal, and we had to do like a rearguard action to try and get our troops back to England, because at first Napoleon was winning, so we realised we had like, because obviously when it came, he got imprisoned on St. Something Island, but then he came back obviously, and there was the British, the Prussians, and another country.
The other country.
Yeah.
The X Factor.
Well, there was a few countries involved, like a coalition that formed against Napoleon anyway, and we obviously had to like send troops from America that were fighting over there, back over there. So, you know, if Napoleon, it was say, yeah.
I hate this sort of like thing where it's like people dwell too much on history. Like history is obviously important.
Sorry, I wouldn't put me in.
No, don't apologise. Like I said,
But, it just shows you a lot of things happen at the same time you don't realise.
Oh well, yeah. It's like people choose to focus on certain things. What I was saying was, yeah, this whole people dwell too much on prior events, especially right. Like, obviously, I know like some Americans still like have like a hatred for the Japanese and stuff like that, and vice
like
versa.
Pearl Harbor,
Yeah, and I'm like,
World War.
does that directly affect you? Like, a lot of the people that committed those heinous acts are dead now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I can kind of get, like, you know, having a bit of spite towards, like, the country. But, like, the individuals, like, they weren't responsible, especially people now, the young people who are around now. I think it's stupid. People dwell on it too much. And as for the whole, we were initially talking about England being invaded and invading.
Yeah.
We are like a mongrel nation, you know what I mean? Like, and that isn't a bad thing. We have so many different races and cultures that make us up.
I'd say America more so. America's.
Well, yeah.
the people over there, there's a phrase, rejects of Europe, back in the day that obviously didn't, that found new places.
They've got Dutch, they've got English, they've got Irish, Italians.
I mean England, I've done research, obviously, what about our names earlier
The
on
Native American population.
Yeah. Obviously, what about our names earlier on the podcast? I know my name's aged Anglo-Saxon name. Probably in that Northumbria area. But, like, who knows? That could be Viking influence as well. Obviously, they invaded that area. You know what I mean? Because what about Wales? What about Wales the other week when we said...
Why was it called Wales?
Yeah.
You figured it out, didn't you?
It was... what was it? It was... we said about this. It was something to do with... It was actually...
the away people or something, wasn't it?
It was actually to do with the Northumbrian dialect at a time. Way back. It was like... It might have surpassed the Viking invasion in, like, the... I want to say it 1000s, but it doesn't make sense. The 1000s. You know what I mean? 9th century.
You don't need specific date.
Anyway, yeah, but it predates that, or might be involved in that. But it's people who travelled from that Northumbria sort of area or like northeast of England to Wales, and sort of they picked up the similar language, dialect, or meaning of it. And it's something to do with it's something to do with them. So basically, travelled over.
Yeah, I remember you said something before though. It had to do with something like Wales was in reference to them being people like the outside people or something like that.
Yeah, it was something that's right. It's like the it was like people who travelled in.
Yeah,
like it was the outside people who travelled in. So it was all. Yeah, I don't know.
Because it
do we have any Welsh people to tell us some history on this?
But I think it's interesting though. It's one of those things that gets overlooked, I think.
But I think these days that, like, do you know, you were saying to me, oh, why didn't you study history? I was like, well, I love like find out about like different places, castles, stuff like that. I like my geography, which coincides with it. I like my history because you learn about different battles and I find it's really cool. Like, even these days, a lot of like military stuff, you look to the past to learn for the future to help like prepare yourself really. It's the only way to learn. But a lot of this stuff isn't taught, and like you said, oh, why didn't you do like history in like school? Or,
I still think you should.
But back in when I was at school, a lot of the history is like, oh, the history of medicine, and I was like, I don't really want to know that though. I want to know about like the fighting, the battles, like the more
want to hear about the cool shit.
Yeah.
No, but like, but it's like what it kind of, you've said it yourself though. It's kind of all important because it all kind of factors in.
And then also, like, the more you learn about history, you learn about like where you're from. You learn about your what was that word you said earlier?
Heritage.
Sorry, yes. You learn about your heritage, where you're from. You know, this, that, and the other. What happened? What could have happened? You know, I think it's interesting to find out personally.
No, I agree. It's but like obviously, like I said, it's important not to dwell on that. But I think you need to like, it's good to look about where you came from. Because, like, for the longest time, I didn't really have an inkling of, like I said, I just had vague sort of Irish roots. And, like I said, it's still quite vague for me. I still want to, like, learn more about my family history.
Do you think that's becoming more and more of a problem these days? As, like, obviously people's, how can I say? Like, do you think that's more of a problem these days? Like, I feel like back in the day, a lot of people wouldn't, like, know, or the family would pass this information down one way or another. But more modern times, obviously, there's a lot of...
It's funny you say that.
There's a lot of breakups and stuff, and a lot of like dilution and stuff for different countries all around the world.
To be honest, like, I think it's easier now.
It is in a way, actually. You can go on stuff like Ancestry and find out, but
one thing I was going to say is that, so, you know, my nana, like, I'm quite close to my nana, and when I speak to her about family history and stuff, I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but when I try and ask her about stuff, like, she's quite forthcoming. She'll tell me about everything.
Yeah.
But her family weren't. Like, she describes it as like, oh, it's just not something you'd ask. You know, like, it would come across rude, or like, you know, like she literally told me that, like, her nana, she never went upstairs in her nana's house. Ever. In her whole life. Went upstairs. Didn't know what the house looked like upstairs. They would just stay in the living room. And I'm like, that's so weird. Like,
no, I kind of get that in a way. It's more, I think it's old family traditions,
but
not traditions, but more.
I think people are a bit more reserved back then, though, in regards to like what you do and don't talk about.
I think that's a very British thing as well, though.
Well, yeah, mate.
All British thing.
People fucking rely on this to be forthcoming with information at the end of the day. Like, you see how, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Dutch courage?
No, in regards to you're not very forthcoming.
Reserved.
I've already said reserved. It doesn't matter. I can't think of the word I was going to say. Repressed.
Repressed, yes.
Repressed, yeah. Like, people are so repressed. Obviously, we're moving into a time where that's, like, less so. We're being more encouraged to be emotionally available and stuff, which is great. Especially for fuckers like me who can't seem to, like, control theirs. Yeah, like, it's one of those, as a nation, we've got so many years of, like, so many generations of emotional sort of repression that, like, you'll get these people that don't want to talk about their, like, feelings and their aspirations and what they're truly thinking, and then they'll have a drink and all the walls come down and it seems like it all just pours out at once. And like, because obviously you hear you see those memes on Facebook where it's like, oh, like, you have a few drinks and you're talking about your life, your life goals and stuff. And it's true though, isn't it? Like, it's true
because, but yeah, again, like, John, you were before in Italy is very healthy with the drink and stuff, but over here, I feel like even like, I'm not.
It was beautiful in Italy.
I'm not blaming my family. Like, obviously, I love my family and they're great people, but I feel like they do have sort of like old-fashioned values in a way, and I feel like when I've been brought up, not that they're meant to, but I feel like it's very much like you must have a stiff upper lip about life as like a British man. And it's not something they've actually physically said.
It's just cultural reinforcement.
Yeah, and it's what you see around you, and not even just my family. It's like in the streets, like, say, growing up in that working class area, you sort of see that, like, stiff upper lip attitude. You know what I mean? Like, oh, boys will be boys, get up, you just scratch yourself. What you acting like a girl for? You know? But it's not just. It's like I say, it's like a general community saying and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like a sheep mentality, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's
everyone's sort of kind of following what the other ones are doing.
Do you know what I was saying earlier? It's not so much like that these days, especially like racism that as well. But I feel like when we were kids growing up, at least when I was.
No, for me too, mate. It was
like early 2000s era. It was sort of like still about then.
Mate, I'll openly say when I was a kid, I was racist. Like, and it wasn't because I was consciously doing it. It was more
monkey see, monkey do. It's like you see people doing that, and you think, oh, it must be what to do. Like you don't have the brain development to actually think.
But as a kid, you soak everything in because that's a survival thing. Like, kids are so
they are sponges like lizards as well. They're trying to adapt to things.
Yeah, exactly. They are sponges for knowledge, and it's a survival thing.
Like chameleons, not lizards.
Chameleons.
You know what I mean?
I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant, so I didn't dwell on it.
Yeah, I corrected myself though. Well, good. Back on track.
Fucking chameleons. Yeah, they are sponges. It's a survival thing, and that's why I'm like, obviously I've told you about my stance on, like, religion and stuff, and, like, and other ideologies being pushed on kids at a young age, because I think it's, I don't think that's fair. Let them come to that conclusion as an adult. But what I was saying about the whole race thing is that because I was surrounded by it, like, obviously in the Northeast, because there is still quite a lot of racism in the Northeast. Like, I'm not going to deny.
There's a footballer. I forgot his name. I might say it wrong. Yannick Balaussi or Balaus.
I'm not a football.
I don't know his name because I haven't really studied enough, but it begins with a B anyway.
Yeah.
And he's on loan, I believe. But there's a guy from the Northeast, living in the Northeast, who's a Scottish man, has actually just been, I believe already he's been arrested for racially abusing this footballer online still.
Really?
And the football club, like, as if this is still happening these days, like, it shouldn't be happening. It's ridiculous. But
it's such a stupid thing.
It's like, why could you bother being racist? Like, it's so damn.
If he's a dick, call him a dick. Don't bring race into it. Like, it's so stupid. But yeah, like, I cringe at the idea of me being like that as a kid. But then I realised, like, there was never really any ill intent. Like, it was just me copying what other people were doing. You just
weren't aware enough as a kid.
And, like, when I broke free from that sort of, like, way of thinking, like, obviously there was one of my mum's partners was very much, like, he was very racist and stuff like that. Once he was gone out of the picture, and I was like, I don't actually dislike anyone for that reason. You know what I mean? Like, and the same with, like, homophobia and stuff like that. It's like, I don't actually, like, it doesn't really. It doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid. And as an adult now, like, I'd like to think I'm not racist. I'm not homophobic. I'm not.
I like to think that you're the same as me in the fact like anyone, male, female, what race you are, what sex, what gender,
Don't
you know, whatever. Like, if you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. If you're a dick to me, I'll be a dick to you. You know,
as long as you're not oppressing people.
It's just being respectful. That's all it is.
Exactly.
And if people aren't respecting you, then why should you respect them? But at the same time, be nice. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's the same, man. We're all human beings. We're all human beings. That's what people need to get
peel our
through.
skin off. It's the same shit.
That's what people need to get. But going back to what was a stiff up lip thing, like I feel like it's a generation thing as well. Now you're about like earlier on, your nana wouldn't be able to go upstairs in her grandmother's house.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, like that back in like World War II, like World War One, they had a thing like men had been to war and saw some shit and they came back and like, oh, he's a quiet man now. Like,
because of the mental health issues. And
yeah, and I feel that's another thing that it's a bit fucked, isn't it, when you think about it? Like,
it's fucking horrible.
Back in the day.
Like,
but obviously, like I feel like other countries, I might be wrong, but I feel like other countries are more supportive of this sort of stuff. Where British, at least back in the day, it's very much like stiff up a lip, get on with your life. It happens to everyone. You know what I mean?
Like
I said, my life shit, but someone's got it worse.
I only have Italy as a reference because that's the only other country that I lived in for a prolonged period of time. And like I said, they were very forthcoming about their emotions. They are literally the kind of family. Like they
man up crying to you, like what's happened?
No, but like
you're like, good God,
they wouldn't
what's the
wouldn't
matter?
just immediately like collapse and start breaking down because they couldn't deal with their emotions.
Yeah.
Like they were very emotionally available people, and they're the kind of people like, oh, they give like hugs and like, you know, they kiss everyone on the cheek and stuff, and they'd be very forthcoming about
You're the
how
one
they
like
felt.
10 pints down crying in the pub, and everyone's like, what's this guy about?
Well, the thing is, right, like obviously we've discussed about how I deal with emotions, and like I said, I've dealt, like, I used to be really emotional as a kid, and then I got bullied for it, and then like for the longest time until I was like an adult, like until uni really, I started like being emotionally available again, and like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm a bit, it seems like a bit overboard, but I'm not even trying to be, but like I was there thinking, you know what, I'm a pretty like emotionally available person. And I was there, and I was like, God damn, these guys are like, these guys are healthy as shit. They were just so like, they didn't need drink to sort of like buffer them in any sort of way to like fit a situation. Like, they didn't need to excessively drink. Obviously, they'd have like ceremonial stuff like with their drink, like, you know, when they had food and stuff, but it'd never be more than one glass or two glasses. Like I said, I went to a party in Italy, and like I easily drank the most. Like they were all maybe had like 3 glasses of like wine or like spirits each,
They're
and
like-
then
they're
I'm on
like-
like fucking 10. Like
They're like table drinking, being polite, and you're like, they're trying to party.
well, no, they were fine with it. They were like, oh yeah, keep drinking. Like yeah, good. We're not going to drink all that. And it's they were shocked. I was just drinking. And the thing is, I wasn't even drunk yet. That's the thing.
They'll speak Italian. They were like, watch, the British guy's about to flip out. He's had too much to drink. He's repressed all his emotions. Look at him go.
I remember it was like a costume party, and it was pretty much, I went with one of my friends, Lorenzo. It was his family who let me stay in their estate. Don't take the piss.
I'm sorry, but that's
Lorenzo's a cool guy.
No, I imagine he is. It's a cool name. It's a cool name.
Listen, look, I've not met Lorenzo, but he's a pretty cool.
But just out of all the names, he could have been called.
What am I gonna
fucking
lie
Lorenzo.
about? Am I gonna call him Louis? Am I?
It's just so stereotypical.
Because it's an Italian name.
But it's the most Italian name I could think of. Maybe
But no, the most Italian name is fucking Mario. Everyone would associate
yeah,
Mario.
sorry. But Lorenzo's up there. Look, come on.
Because it's he's not going to be called Kevin.
True, but like Lorenzo.
No, but I went with him and his girlfriend.
Sorry, it
and
was just funny. It was just funny.
I went with him and his girlfriend, I think, and one of his mates, I think Francesco, and don't fucking laugh, right? And it was like we were all dressed as like greasers and shit, and it was a good part. Like I enjoyed it. It wasn't like wild or anything, but we're in this middle class
You
estate.
start
Like,
doing the grease dance. You're like, go grease like that. Have you seen that with no music, by the way? It's so weird. It's just guys on the car shimmying and like trying to sing. It's just so bad.
it's But yeah, I remember, and it was weird. I went to this like middle class estate, like walked in, a like, massive house. They had a photographer on site just taking pictures of everyone.
Do you just live there? Like you usually have a butler who lives there, take care of the estate.
It was just weird. Like you walk downstairs, and then it was like because
we talking like a manor house here, like sort of.
It wasn't like massive,
not a mansion, but like sort of a manor estate.
It was a very big house.
Estate house. Yeah.
Like it was on a street though. Like it was like there was a lot of other houses like it on that street.
Yeah.
And you walked in, went past the gates and stuff, and then there was like 2 stairs that went up to the bedrooms and stuff, and then down in the middle of stairs that went down.
I love a house.
And you went down in, and there was this big living room and loads of different rooms and stuff. And then you went even further. What would happen? You went to this living room when you came down the stairs, and then there was another set of stairs from the living room that went further down, and it was a party room, and like.
These fuckers need an elevator.
It was cool as fuck.
like, get a lift. It's 2 ways fair.
It was only like 5. It was only like maybe 5-10 steps down max. But like it was fucking cool as shit. And like there was probably about like 30 or 40 of us, and I was like the highlight of the party because it was the British guy.
Is that what you're known as, the British guy? Yeah, called Declan.
But like I drank so like honestly like I was drinking and stuff, and I was drinking so casually, and they were like they were just like I don't understand how you can drink so much. You know, I was just like, this is normal. Like
you drink the place dry.
Honestly, but then I started getting drunk munchies and started eating the food as well. Yeah. But they were all so lovely, honestly. Like I'd love to go back again, specifically to like hang out with like people like Lorenzo and stuff. Because I went on a pub crawl with them before, and they had to stop after 3 bars because they couldn't keep up with me.
You're just like your pre-drink stage.
We went for another 7 bars or so, and like I was like they were advising like, oh, these are the drinks that are the harder hitting ones if you want to go for them. Like, oh, these are the manly drinks. Or
it's
whatever.
It's just a double.
Yeah. I'm like, call that a double. Forget about the bar. Like, yeah, the fucking free pour over there. They don't do shots. But yeah, I remember going to 7 bars, and yeah, they were just like, it's fucking crazy, he's still going. I had to get the train home as well from Brescia City. And but they were all so supportive because they stopped drinking after 3 bars. They're like, oh, we'll stay with him. He wants to keep going.
They're just drinking water. I'm like, please stop, Declan. I was just dragged us at 7 bars now. I can't deal with it.
I was like asking them for advice. Like, oh, which are all the stronger drinks? And we went to a shop bar. There was a specific bar in Brescia City. It wasn't super far.
Did you do all the fancy like coloured shots and like stuff like that?
There was one called a Smurf shot, and it was like a blue and white shot, and it fucking fucked me up, but it was great. I remember I went back to that bar at a later date, and I was chatting to like a guy who like a rock artist or whatever, and it was fucking sick. But
blue and white.
It's a blue and white shot. I'm assuming
vodka, blue. Well, definitely blue carousel in it to make it blue.
Yeah. It had like a bit of white.
Bit of white. So is that? Was that a creamy colour, like Tia Maria sort of colour?
We are talking about 2 years ago, mate.
Oh, right,
and I was pretty drunk.
Yeah, that wasn't even blue, was it?
It was fucking indigo.
What a colour, by the way. Of all the colours.
Default indigo.
Not red or green. Indigo. It was a lilac colour.
I've got the Dulux paint catalogue underneath the table.
You've been figuring out what colour to paint your fucking bedroom there.
Yeah. I'm going for an indigo and teal looking kind of room.
Your fucking vocabulary, man. It's not even vocabulary, it's just like the words you choose.
What?
It's the words you choose.
You always have a go at me for work.
It's because you know what it is? Because people's obvious words that they choose aren't yours. Say if you try to find a certain word to fit the sentence. Most people use one word. You'd pick it'd work still, but you'd pick a fucking discrete word.
I want to be specific with what I'm hitting. I want to hit the nail right on the head.
It was a made up drink, Declan. Come on.
The colour's not made up, Stephen. Indigo's a colour.
Yeah, I know that, but it was a made up drink. I'm not denying indigo's a colour. Pluto is a planet. That was the Rick and Morty reference.
Fuck off.
But anyway, I think to wrap things up, if I've learned anything, is we British may be repressed and obviously drink to let our emotions out, but we make up for it in comedy.
We went for an hour 34, by the way.
That's a new record. If this was sex.
How many 30 seconds fit into that?
No, what I was saying, but yeah, I think British have the best comedians. Apart from Bill Hicks. He was a legend.
Anyway.
No, actually America have got some good comedians. But yeah, I just think they're repressing themselves.
One of my favourite British comedians is David Mitchell. I absolutely love David Mitchell.
You are the embodiment, Dave. If David Mitchell, you're just two-piece in the pod.
I love him. He's an awesome guy. I would love to just meet him.
I would love to get used to sat here having a debate. That'd be.
He would fuck
there'd
you up in a
There'd be
debate.
hands flying everywhere. It'd be like a kung fu movie.
What are you talking about?
there'd be like emphasized hands everywhere. It'd be like shit.
I like him.
I'll get karate chopped to the throat.
You know what? I like David Mitchell because he's one of those people that, like, you know, when I see him get angry, he goes between like super angry. It's like angry logic, and like, if I was going to describe me in an argument, it's angry logic. And so, like, I just relate to it so
Do you know
much.
what I find funny though? I've seen Would I Like You? You're very much
Fucking
like
love Would I
David
Like You.
Mitchell. I'm very much like Lee Mack.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I would compare you and Jack to like a Lee
Yeah.
Mack-esque. He's yeah, like, I don't know.
I wouldn't
He's
say
more,
blindly
he's more
Mack, but yeah.
repressed than me, I'd say, David Mitchell.
You think?
But, yeah, he's very repressed. But no, I think I love David Mitchell more because like he's just so unapologetically himself, and he has he's very like I said, he has an appreciation for the English language, which I like he has a mint like lexicon. He's on point with every word he uses. Like, that's why like I want to do like an English language course, because I just like being able to express myself in the most precise and consistent way possible.
Honestly, if you did that, I think me and a few of your mates wouldn't be able to keep up. We'd just be like, okay, definitely.
But mate, you've spoken to my dad though. My dad like
True.
He
Do you know what's the worst thing about that? I mean, obviously, your dad's a cool guy. We got on really well. He's a good laugh. But he is a very smart guy. And I'll love you.
But he's not nerdy. He doesn't come across. He's not like, oh, hello. Like he's like mank. Like
I'm smart in some fields, but in a lot of life, I'm pretty dumb. But I'm here to learn more. That's what life's about. But when I got to the set level drunk, and so did Dad, he was like, I can't remember what we talked about, just stuff in general, but he's very smart and very precise what he says. And when you get drunk, you try to keep up with someone on that level, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Need up the gears.
He is very much a jack of all trades, and like I feel dumb when I'm around him. Like, I don't think I'm extreme. I'm definitely not an academic.
Oh, that's a bad thing though, because you learn a lot from him.
Oh, I know.
He's got a lot to give to the society. He's got a lot to give to people.
He made a point to me. He was like, "Oh, don't dumb yourself down, and don't ever think that you are dumb. Just because you necessarily haven't got like the book smarts as such, like just because you haven't like went into like an academic sort of field, doesn't mean you're stupid. Like, I don't think intelligence should necessarily be measured by how much you remember. I think intelligence is your ability to adapt."
I'd say to someone, never dumb yourself down, but is what annoys me about my brain personally. I've noticed this lately. I don't know if it's like, it's the drinking or whatever, or
Slowing
other stuff,
down.
but it's when I try to say stuff or bring up certain references, my brain won't keep up. There's a lag, there's a little delay, and it won't bring stuff. It won't bring ideas to the forefront as fast, and it's really annoying. It's frustrating, if anything.
I can kind of relate, although a way around that I typically find is I feel like you end up like getting sort of hitting walls with your thought process when you consistently do the same things.
Yeah.
If you keep doing the same things, your brain becomes too comfortable following those particular paths. So the best way to allow for quick thought, because obviously your brain is designed to adapt to things. So if you consistently think of new ways, like new thought processes and new avenues to pursue, I think your reactions will be quicker. Because your brain's like, oh shit, I'm not comfortable with this one particular way. I have to be able to adapt to all these different thought processes.
Is one thing I love doing is say if I find a word, or say if I'm listening to a program or a podcast or whatever interview, and someone uses an unusual word that you wouldn't come across in your usual usual vocabulary. Yeah, I'll go and Google it and find out the meaning.
I love shit like that.
And then I'll be able to use that in sentences. I won't like go out. I mean, let's take the piss with you with some close mates, but I won't go out my way to be a dick about it. But like, you can use it in certain situations, and it's great because then. You know, people notice it as well because like you, I wouldn't have got there. Oh, guess like I would just like keeping it in my forefront, ready to say it. You know what I mean? So you'd say it, people are like, what a dick. But people will notice you using different vocabulary, as I noticed the person I originally learned it from.
I think you have to be careful with that kind of stuff though, because you don't want to make it seem like you're doing vocabulary like gymnastics essentially, where it's like, I want to sound smart, so I'm going to use all these words. Like, I think you should only ever use, like, I think learning vocabulary, it should only ever be used for, like I said, clarity.
I think sometimes you can do that a lot, but obviously
I'm not trying though.
You're not.
I'm not.
I'm not trying, guys.
I'm
this
not.
is my usual. No, but
I'm just trying to be honest about how I would say things.
As what I was going to say is though, it comes like you use it for a reason though. You use it to be more precise, more on point with what you're saying to get your point of view across. You don't just shout out like vague terms here, there, and everywhere and try to like.
Well, yeah,
let people make sense of it. You use it for a specific point. Which I like.
I think you can have a word that sums up exactly how you're saying, like exactly what you're trying to convey.
I tell you what was weird. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
do you remember when you used? I believe it was the word audactically.
I thought it was a word.
But do you remember? Because I was like audacity. I was like, I've got to search it because I've never heard of it. Obviously, there's the music program Audacity, and I searched it. It turns out it wasn't a word, but afterwards I was like, that should be a word though.
Yeah,
because it does make sense.
Because audacity is like, the audacity.
Yeah,
it's like something outrageous, isn't it? Like, but it's not to do with audio. Is it auditory? Auditory is the correct word, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so. What was the word you said? I just said it.
Oh no, audacity. Audacity. No, it was something like that. What did you say before?
Audactically
Audacity. I said that off the
audacity,
but it wasn't a word.
Because you were like, the phrase you were using was, that's audacity so and so.
Yeah.
Like as in that,
it's audacity consistent. I was trying to say.
Yeah, as like you're on about certain sound. You're like, that's audacity so and so. But then we searched it. It wasn't actually a word, and we're like, well, that should be though. Cause like,
I think auditory is the actual.
No, I think it's two different. I'm
googling this.
Well, what were you originally mean it to be?
Because I was in. It was. I was talking about something within the realms of audio.
Yeah, but I don't think it was. I think auditorily. I haven't say it, but you know what I mean. Has different meaning.
1 sec. We're gonna double check this. Auditory, I'm pretty sure is a word.
I've auditorium meaning. Is that what you're on about?
Auditory.
Part of a theatre, council, public
relating
building.
to the sense of hearing. It's a word. Auditory though just sounds like a fucking like a Tory that's really into music. Like, oh yes, what a banger.
I was like, I think it was like 2016 time when the Tories were out there. It's Tory versus Labour, and they started using the Smiths quotes, and everyone was just like, "No, stop!" And even the Smiths like never use our songs again. The Smiths hate like
that's fucking
the Tories.
You gonna fucking finish your Guinness? Because we need to finish this podcast as well.
I think on that note, I'll finish this Guinness. We'll finish the podcast. We were going to wrap it up earlier. The British being repressed and being good comedians.
We were on about like. I'll be honest. Before this podcast, like Stephen was like, we'll do a short one. This is like the longest one we've done, I think.
I think it is, but it's been fun. It's been fun. We've touched a range of topics. We went from Paddy's Day, our ancestry,
other stuff.
More
our experiences.
What's happened in the news lately.
A few little anecdotes in there, It's,
that's been good. Enjoyed it.
Well, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.
Okay.